What's up, guys? It's your boy Mayhem Matthew. Today I got with me Viral Pro Wrestling Women's Champion and your hero, Airica Demia. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It is an honor to have you on Talking Mayhem today for a conversation. So let's get on. Let's get started. Um, tell us about yourself.
Well, what do you want to know?
Tell us, how you got started, in the wrestling into wrestling.
So, um, for as long as I can remember, I've been watching, well, I had been watching my dad wrestle, just at like a little small place close to where I live. Um, and yeah, it kind of all just worked out. One day he was like, "Hey, do you want to try training?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to." Like, because I had been begging for it for years, and he was like, "Nope, you're too clumsy. We're not doing it." Then one day he was like, "Hey, why not? Just let's get in and try it." I was ecstatic, and it stuck ever since that day.
For sure. So how long have you been wrestling so far?
On actual shows, it's been 2 years and 8 months, but that happened in 2019. So 6-ish years, I believe, if I know how to math, which I don't, but
For sure. So, did you ever watch wrestling growing up as a kid?
so when I was like a kid, I didn't really know what TV wrestling was. Like I heard people talk about it and I was like, I just didn't understand what it was until my dad started hosting like pay-per-view parties kind of. And I kind of got into the TV wrestling like that. It was around the time I think when NXT first started up, the black and gold brand. So that was a long time ago. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what got me into it.
For sure. Do you have a favorite wrestler?
At the moment, it's kind of hard to decide who my favorite wrestler would be because I like so many different wrestlers for so many different reasons. When I was a kid, it was definitely Bailey, though.
For sure. Do you have inspirations that you do inside of the ring? Do you have any inspirations?
I think the only person other than my dad that I've intentionally been like, I want to hit this move because of this wrestler is I hit a Snapdragon suplex because of Kenny Omega. Um, Other than that, a lot of the stuff that I hit is mostly based on anime or just taking a cool move that I saw on the internet and making it anime or something that I took from my dad or my trainers or something like that.
Now tell us a little bit about anime. Uh, tell us because I'm assuming that's how you got your name, your ring name. Tell us about that.
So my ring name, Your Hero Academia, is based off of the anime My Hero Academia. Academia is just like a little play on words with academia. I started watching My Hero Academia when I was 14, around the time I first started training, because my dad's tag partner and best friend at the time was like, "Hey, you guys are gonna love this. You should watch it." And we were like, "Okay, we'll see." And both me and my dad ended up crying watching the first episode, so we were kind of hooked. And I very much related very heavily with the main character, Deku or Azuka Midoriya, because he was 14 years old. He had a dream that he just wasn't built for, and he got bullied, and he was a crybaby. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the same person pretty much. Then shortly after that, I'm pretty sure I dyed my hair green, and then I feel like the rest is history at that point.
So you said you incorporate your wrestling moves with anime. So how do how do you incorporate your moves using anime?
So a lot of it is just the in between stuff. So with my finisher, I do a big charge up, and that came from partially like the Super Saiyan charge up, and also um me and my dad love Zelda, and my mom too. We love Zelda in this house. So in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, there's a magic ability called Din's Fire, and when Link goes to charge it up, he brings his hands back. I can't do it because I have a phone in my hand, but if you watch the clip of it, I bring my hands back a certain way, and then I release. So that part of it is based on Zelda. So it's a combination of Dragon Ball and Zelda.
For sure. I have a friend that is a big anime fan. I want to know your top 5 animes.
Okay. So top 5 would be, so my favorite of all time is called Inuyasha. It's mostly my favorite just because nostalgic value. It was the first anime I ever watched when I was like 5 years old. It scared the life out of me, and I was hooked. So it'd be Inuyasha, My Hero Academia. I've got a couple new ones. So Dandadan. I've got to think. Cowboy Bebop is a really good one. And one of my favorites when I was a kid was Full Metal Alchemist. Not Brotherhood. I haven't seen Brotherhood yet, but the original Full Metal Alchemist. Because I didn't know what mangas were at the time, so I didn't know that it like diverted. I didn't know anything like that.
For sure. So, take us into the wrestling world. Uh, what was the moment that you realized this is for me for sure?
So that's kind of a hard question. Like I said, I just grew up watching my dad do it, and it just kind of was just something that I just wanted to do. I was like, I want to try this out, but I kind of I don't remember even exactly when I decided I wanted to try to get signed and try to make a career out of this. Um, I'm sure I was probably still 14 when I decided that, and my dad was like, "All right, this is what we're doing." Um, but I feel like sometimes I still have moments where I doubt myself a little bit, but the more that I get to travel, the more that I get to wrestle like every weekend, the more I'm like, yes, this is for me 100%.
For sure. I know this is crazy, but I start my wrestling training October the 1st here in my hometown. So I did the tryouts and I passed tryouts. So I'm doing the actual training starting October 1st. So is there any advice you can give people like me, to help us on our journey?
My personal biggest piece of advice, I've got two things. One of them is don't let your own mindset hold you back. You are way more capable of doing anything and everything than you think. And my second piece of advice is get over yourself. They kind of go hand in hand. So if you think about it, if you overthink any part of it, you're going to mess it up. Don't think, just do it.
For sure. You know, you love anime and you love wrestling. What are the biggest similarities between the two?
I think the biggest similarities are how big everything tends to be. Like in an anime, like they have the big charge ups and stuff, and in wrestling, like everybody will tell you, hey, take a second between everything because the in between parts are the most important. And the way to make those things important is to stop and be big. And especially with facial expressions, because when you're hopefully one day when you're in a stadium, not everybody's going to be able to see you if you're just like this. So you have to make your face so much bigger, like to show any reaction. Same thing with your body language. You have to be how you would react times like 1,000. And anime is pretty similar if you ask me.
For sure. What is your proudest moment in wrestling to date?
Oh, that's definitely a hard question. I don't know. I feel like I've wrestled some pretty cool people. Nixon Newell is definitely one of my favorite moments I got to have, but I feel like also getting to wrestle my dad after growing up watching him wrestle is definitely it's probably on the same level if I'm being honest with you. It's just very
Ha-
special to me.
Have y'all ever tag team with each other?
We have a few times. It's been a while. He doesn't wrestle quite as much as he used to just because he's been doing it for so long. His body's very beat up. Um, but yeah, we've tagged quite a few times.
For sure. There's another tag team, like daddy daughter tag team. I can't remember
Mhm.
their name, but I've seen them. Have you ever wrestled them?
Mila and James Johnson?
Mm,
Yes, we have. I think we've maybe like 3 or 4 times. Their tag name is Daddy Daughter Dance. So you were almost there. You almost had it.
yeah, for sure. You know, what uh what is your favorite TV wrestling match that you ever
Yeah.
seen?
Oh, that's also a very hard question. I barely remember my own matches. A lot of the time because I'm always like picking myself up just ready to go for the next one, just like learn from the mistakes and learn from what I should and shouldn't do and then on to the next one. But probably one of the several matches between Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Or well, no, I guess that's it.
For sure. So, have you ever gotten to do any televised things, or have you ever tell us about that?
So earlier in my career, I did have a dark match on Ring of Honor. I wrestled Nyla Rose and I got the crap beat out of me. So, but that was a very cool experience for me.
Yes. Tell us how you got. Tell us how you got that dark match.
So sometimes bigger companies will reach out to wrestlers for extra work just to have people come in and just stand in for like a lot of different roles. And that day I happened to be there and they needed somebody for a dark match. They needed somebody who was small. I think and at the time I was pretty skinny. So they decided that I was the best fit because I also was very willing to do whatever they needed me to do.
Yes, I hear a lot of people say in the wrestling world that if you're willing to, you'll get much further in places if you're just willing to do what they say, and just tell us how true that is in the wrestling world.
That is very true. So you have to be very coachable all of the time. Like you have to listen to what, like, for example, what an agent or a producer would tell you when you're going through your match beforehand. They'll want you to do some very specific things in the match and like give you advice on how to make it better. And you have to take all of that and put it into the match to make sure you do what they ask. And same thing for if a booker asks you to do something specific, you have to do that if you want them to bring you back, or if you want to get put into better spots later, like the next few times you get booked, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's very, very true. You'll definitely get very far just knowing how to listen, and but also without just letting people walk all over you. Because if it's a case of it's another wrestler doing that, then it's like, hey man, I'm gonna need you to back up a little bit, okay? I've got this. I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
For sure. Getting started in the business, I've heard that you have to, help out before the show, help out after the show, help tear down the ring, do different things. Tell us your experience on doing that.
So usually, if I'm at a show and there's like setup and tear down, 90% of hold on, sorry, I can't speak today. 90% of the time, I try to help set up the ring, help tear down the ring, help with setting up like barricades or chairs or something, because like especially with indie wrestling, they need all the help they can get. Like, not everybody has a ring crew, not everybody has people that are designated for these tasks. So I try to help as much as I can. But if it gets to a point where I'm in the way, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to let you guys handle it. That does happen sometimes too. But I have been helping different shows set up and tear down since like 2020. So I've been doing it for absolute years. Also, it's really great if you didn't get to work out that day. It'll help you get a really nice pump.
For sure. Give us your. This is kind of a two questions in one. Give us your Mount Rushmore in men's and female wrestlers.
Honestly, I don't feel like I really have either of those, if I'm being honest, because like I respect all wrestlers pretty much, and I think that there's something to learn from everybody. I don't really think about it like a greatest of all time kind of thing, because everybody has things that they're good at, everybody has things that they're not good at, and you just like most wrestlers just capitalize on what they are good at and become better than everybody else. That's also another piece of advice for upcoming wrestlers. Realize what you're good at and get better at it than everybody else. That's kind of why I can't really pick. But my dad would be on it. I'll tell you that.
For sure. What's the biggest thing that your father has ever taught you as far as wrestling goes?
um, Character. So one of the biggest things that's going to get somebody signed is having a character, being larger than life. And every time I have a match, he's like, more, bigger. Everything just needs to be more. Like, it's the as far as character goes, it's the total opposite of less is more. You need more all the time.
For sure. Where can they find you on social media?
So on Instagram, it'll be my Insta _ Airicademia, spelt like it is right there. Facebook is Airicademia. If you send me a friend request, I most likely will not answer it because I have over 1,000 sitting in there, and there's no one going through that anytime soon. I don't have any days off coming up. So that's really overwhelming. On Twitter or X, it'll be Airica _ Demia. On TikTok, my TikTok _ Airicademia. Let's see what else I have. I have a YouTube channel. That is, I think, Your Hero Airicademia. And then Patreon, which I think is patreon.com/Airicademia, but I could be wrong. Either way, it's still there somewhere. I also have a link tree in the bio of my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, you can find everything in there.
For sure. Is there any last second things that you wanted to mention?
Just honestly, believe in yourself. That's it. Dreams can become reality as long as you believe in yourself. Don't let anybody else bring you down.
For sure. If you like this content, please smash the thumbs up. And if you really like this content, hit the subscribe button.